Imagine a time before nations, when Eastern Europe was a tapestry of Slavic and Finnic tribes. From the north, swift longships appear, carrying warriors and traders known as Vikings. They navigate the vast river systems, particularly the mighty Dnieper, a liquid highway connecting Scandinavia to the Black Sea. These Vikings, skilled navigators and fierce warriors, quickly establish trade routes and settlements. One location becomes particularly crucial: Kiev, strategically positioned on the Dnieper, poised to become a vital trading hub. Amidst this era of migration and trade emerges a figure shrouded in both history and legend: Rurik, a Viking chieftain. Around 862 AD, he's invited to rule in Novgorod, a key city south of the Baltic Sea. Whether by conquest or invitation, Rurik lays the foundation for a dynasty, the Rurikids, that will shape Eastern European history for centuries. His successors, Oleg and Igor, consolidate power, extending their influence southwards, laying the groundwork for a powerful new state. In 882 AD, Oleg, Rurik's successor, achieves a pivotal victory, the capture of Kiev. This strategic masterstroke unites the northern and southern Slavic tribes under a single rule, shifting the center of power from Novgorod to Kiev. Oleg becomes the first Grand Prince of Russes, a strategically located realm poised to dominate the East European landscape. With Kiev at its heart, a new empire begins to take shape. Tragedy strikes with the death of Igor, but from the shadows emerges his wife, Princess Olga. A cunning strategist, Olga ruthlessly avenges her husband's death and skillfully consolidates her power. But Olga is not simply a warrior queen. She makes a momentous decision, embracing Christianity, a faith from the powerful Byzantine Empire. Her conversion foreshadows the profound religious transformation that will soon sweep through Kievan Rus. Olga's son, Sviatoslav, inherits not only the throne, but also a thirst for conquest. A relentless warrior, Sviatoslav leads his armies to victory against powerful neighbors, the Khazars, Bulgars, and even the mighty Byzantine Empire. His military campaigns redefine the borders of Kievan Rus, leaving an indelible mark on the early political landscape of Eastern Europe. Sviatoslav's conquests laid the foundations of an emergent regional power. Before the Vikings, the East European landscape was a mosaic of Slavic tribes. Groups like the Polans, Drevlians, and Severians, each with distinct customs, beliefs, and social structures. Though united by a common Slavic ancestry, they lived in separate communities, scattered across a vast territory, their lives intertwined with the rivers, forests, and fertile plains of their homeland. The rise of Kievan Rus marked a turning point. Gradually, these disparate tribes united. Trade flowed along the Dnieper River, connecting communities and creating shared economic interests. A common language emerged, Old East Slavic, bridging cultural divides. Though diverse in their origins, a sense of collective identity began to form, a shared destiny as the people of Rus. They were no longer simply Polans, Drevlians, or Severians, but members of a larger, cohesive society. The nascent identity helped to develop a sense of unity. From this cultural melting pot, a new language arises, Old East Slavic, a fusion of existing Slavic dialects infused with words and influences from the Old Norse language of the Vikings. This shared tongue becomes more than just a way to communicate. It becomes a powerful tool for unification, creating a cultural bridge between diverse tribes and the ruling elite. It sets the stage for the evolution of languages such as modern Ukrainian, Belarusian, and Russian. The unique cultural blend of Kievan Rus blossoms in art and architecture. Viking shipbuilding techniques meet Slavic woodworking traditions. Byzantine artistry influences magnificent structures epitomized by the St. Sophia Cathedral in Kyiv, an enduring symbol of this new civilization. From intricate jewelry to ornate metalwork, the artistic expression of Kievan Rus becomes a vibrant tapestry woven from diverse threads, signifying and representing a multicultural new realm. Despite these changes, the ancient beliefs of the Slavic tribes endured. Deeply connected to nature, they worshipped spirits residing in rivers, forests, and the sky, honoring their ancestors with elaborate rituals. Their pagan faith, rich in folklore and traditions, played an integral part in everyday life. Prince Vladimir, a powerful ruler, faces a crucial decision, choosing a faith for his people. He explores various religions, sending envoys to observe Islam in Bulgaria, Judaism amongst the Tsars, and different forms of Christianity in Western Europe and Constantinople. He consults with religious leaders, weighs the benefits of each faith, and seeks the best path for his realm. His search for faith will transform not just Kievan Rus, but the very fabric of its existence and the future of generations to come. Based on his envoys' reports, Vladimir rejects both Islam and Judaism. Islam's prohibition of alcohol didn't align with the celebratory customs of Rus. Judaism, a religion associated with the people without a land, seemed unsuitable for a rising empire. The envoys sent to Constantinople returned with tales of breathtaking splendor. They described the magnificence of the Hagia Sophia, the soaring dome of the cathedral, the ethereal beauty of the Orthodox Christian services. They speak of a God whose power is manifest in earthly glory. This vision captures Vladimir's imagination and sets him on a new path. In 988 AD, a pivotal moment arrives. In the waters of the Dnieper, the people of Kiev are baptized, embracing Christianity by order of their prince. Pagan idols are cast down and destroyed, ancient rituals replaced by new beliefs. Vladimir's choice forever changes the religious and political direction of Kievan Rus, inextricably linking its destiny to the Byzantine world and leaving an enduring impact on Eastern European culture, heritage, and religion. It's the start of a new era, one of spiritual transformation, one of unity under a single faith, Christianity. Christianity brought profound changes. Churches rise across the land, inspired by Byzantine architecture. Monasteries become centers of learning. Kievan Rus enters a new sphere of international relations, forging stronger ties with Byzantium and other Christian states. The adoption of a shared belief system integrated them into a broader religious and political system. The early years following Vladimir's death were marked by turmoil. Yaroslav, one of Vladimir's sons, faces a fierce power struggle against his brothers. Through political maneuvering and military victories, he eventually consolidates his rule, becoming the undisputed Grand Prince of Kyiv. The reign of one of the greatest rulers of Kievan Rus is about to begin. Yaroslav's reign ushers in an era of stability and order, epitomized by the Russkaya Pravda, often considered the first East Slavic legal code. This written law establishes rules for resolving disputes, setting fines for offenses, protecting property, and ultimately lays a foundation for the entire legal tradition that will help to govern Kievan Rus moving forward and will influence the generations of laws still yet to come. Beyond law, Yaroslav invests in the cultural and intellectual life of his realm. Schools and libraries are established, including one within the magnificent St. Sophia Cathedral, itself a testament to Yaroslav's vision. Kiev transforms into a hub of learning and artistic expression, its splendor rivaling that of Constantinople. A new cultural center has risen in Europe. Kievan Rus sits at a geographical and cultural crossroads between East and West, between Scandinavia and Byzantium, creating a dynamic heart of Europe. Under Yaroslav's guidance, Kievan Rus extends trade routes, driving immense prosperity to the realm. Kiev's markets become hives of activity and exchange. Goods from across the world flow in and out of the city, and Rus firmly establishes itself at the heart of European commerce. Through legal reform, investment in education, and flourishing trade, Yaroslav shapes Kievan Rus into a strong state, respected by all its neighbors and rivals. His wisdom earns him the moniker Yaroslav the Wise, cementing his place as the architect of Kievan Rus's golden age and solidifying the enduring influence of one of Eastern Europe's most impactful and important historical figures. Yaroslav's death sows the seeds of disunity. The system of succession, dividing land among sons, creates rivalries. Princes battle for supremacy, fracturing the realm into competing principalities. The once unified Kievan Rus begins to unravel, weakening its defenses and creating opportunities and advantages for rival groups, kingdoms, tribes, and external forces, such as the rapidly growing Mongol Empire from the east. As Kiev's authority diminishes, regional powers ascend. Novgorod in the north, Vladimir Suzdal in the northeast, and Galicia-Volhynia in the west emerge as independent principalities, forging their own distinct political and cultural identities. The once cohesive realm of Kievan Rus is now a patchwork of independent states and territories, vying for dominance and survival in an increasingly turbulent time and region. Their divergent trajectories will ultimately reshape the political landscape of Eastern Europe for generations yet to come. From the vast steppes of Central Asia, a new threat emerges: the Mongol Empire. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his successors, Mongol armies sweep westward, conquering vast territories with unmatched speed and brutality. The divided principalities of Russians, weakened by internal strife, face a formidable enemy, one that will test their very ability to defend their sovereignty, their existence, and their unique individual history. In 1240, disaster strikes. Batu Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, leads a Mongol horde against Kyiv. The city, once a symbol of unity and prosperity, is ravaged and destroyed, its magnificent buildings reduced to rubble, and its proud people are scattered and defeated. The fall of Kyiv marks a symbolic end to Kievan Rus as a unified political entity, ushering in centuries of change across Eastern Europe, reshaping its destiny dramatically forever. The Mongol invasion shatters the realm of Kievan Rus, leaving a fragmented landscape in its wake. The territories of modern-day Ukraine and Russia begin to diverge, embarking on distinct historical journeys that will shape and forge different cultural and political pathways for the centuries and millennia ahead. The Mongol conquest ushers in a new era, the Mongol Yoke, the beginning of decades and centuries of domination. From a powerful Mongol empire now established firmly in power over the shattered former territories of Kievan Rus. The vast region is divided and reorganized according to the specific direct rule of powerful Khans and Mongol princes, and regional variations in politics, culture, and leadership determine their relationship with the Khans and ultimately shape the region's destiny going forward. In the western part of the former Kievan Rus, including Galicia Volhynia, now in modern Ukraine, there is stubborn resistance to Mongol rule. Despite facing a far larger and incredibly powerful force and army, these principalities display immense resilience, fighting to maintain some semblance of political and cultural autonomy as they battle for their land and for the lives, rights, and cultural identity and expression of their people, who refuse to simply give in to powerful foreign conquerors who seek to dominate, destroy, and pillage the land, towns, cities, and people that made up the unique part of the region. In contrast, a city far to the east and north of Kiev begins its rise within Mongol confines, Moscow. Initially a minor principality of very little local importance within Kievan Rus, its shrewd princes skillfully navigate Mongol politics. Collaboration, not conquest, is chosen as a survival strategy. Moscow consolidates neighboring regions, effectively playing different Mongol rulers against each other to expand their territory at the expense of local competitors, becoming ever more powerful and important within Mongol domains, and in time they would establish themselves and cement the future of the region's power. The contrasting responses to Mongol domination have a profound impact. They cement ever more quickly the increasingly distinct identities forming and developing in East and West Rus. The mongolyoke, though a shared, harrowing experience of exploitation, sets these regions on divergent paths, influencing their political institutions, culture, and relationships. These will transform through Mongol imposition and exploitation as they struggle to retain their unique, proud history and cultural heritage. The era of Mongol domination leaves a lasting legacy, profoundly reshaping Eastern Europe. Mongol administrative practices influence future political structures, trade connections are drastically disrupted, and new trading partners emerge, and cultures adapt, shaping and determining different trajectories for what will ultimately give rise to a distinct Ukrainian culture in the west of the region, while far to the east, the legacy will forge a Russian destiny. These cultures emerge out of the exploitation of the Mongol Empire in this formative and incredibly consequential period of great human suffering and loss of cultural and historical richness across the region as it battled to retain, refine, and pass forward the very beliefs, faiths, and traditions which defined them as distinct regions. History isn't just a list of events, it also includes interpretations and different understandings. The story of Kievan Rus has become a battleground of interpretations and competing historical narratives employed to solidify and bolster the identities of modern nations. The physical land, symbolic past, and important legacy of Kievan Rus has become central to how modern-day Ukraine and Russia understand themselves as distinct entities. These different perspectives influence how territories are viewed and often are a critical component justifying political positions, motivations, and even wars. The interpretations are essential to how nations ultimately see themselves, what rights they feel they possess, how they interact with rival states and cultures, and ultimately how future decisions regarding state actions, both politically and militarily, will develop and transform both their own nation and their relationships with the broader global arena. From the Ukrainian view, Kievan Rus is positioned as the direct predecessor to their own modern state. They place a significant emphasis on the role and history of leaders who predominantly ruled in Western Rus, specifically highlighting those who base their power in the ancient territory of Galicia-Volhynia and actively work towards maintaining the autonomy and independence of the region and their subjects against incursions from both outside forces such as the Mongols and political and cultural rivals across Europe. Russia views Kievan Rus in a different light. It presents Kievan Rus as a shared cultural ancestor of Russians, Ukrainians, and Belarusians alike. Their narrative typically presents Moscow as the logical successor, inheriting both spiritual and temporal leadership legitimacy, as it assumes the mantle of the most powerful and historically and culturally legitimate city as inheritor and protector of all these regions across a long, rich, intertwined heritage. These narratives clash within ongoing and incredibly consequential geopolitical issues, such as the conflict in Ukraine, where disputes about the past intersect and often dominate discussion and form the basis and rationale, and even justification for political aims and motivations. Actions undertaken including invasion, conquest, and continued occupation, annexation, and even for who legitimately represents the land and people going forward. Both countries have employed and deployed complex, overlapping, intersecting, yet equally divergent historical narratives that shape political opinions, fuel and exacerbate military confrontations, and provide rationale even for actions such as modern wars, conquest, and invasion. By exploring these competing historical interpretations and examining where those narratives and histories diverge, and critically engaging with such disagreements, we as viewers can appreciate both the complexity of Ukraine and Russia's shared history, cultural exchange, and overlapping heritage, but also can evaluate the claims each nation states and better understand their impacts on events both present and future within the broader cultural context. It's essential not only to know about the past, but how that past shapes different national cultural perspectives of contemporary events, if we are to gain a deeper appreciation for not just past cultural identities, but current affairs. Historical context, motivations, and different national cultures are all key to better appreciating contemporary international relations and for working together across borders towards establishing mutual goals of understanding, cultural exchange, open communication, and collaboration. In the 15th and 16th centuries, amidst the vast steppes of Eastern Europe, a new group emerges, the Cossacks. These free-spirited warriors, skilled horsemen, and fierce defenders carve out a unique existence on the edges of established societies and play a key role protecting and guarding communities from both bandits and invaders alike. At the heart of Cossack territory lies the Zaporizhian Sich, a fortified island stronghold. More than just a military base, the Sich becomes a symbol of Cossack independence and self-governance, a beacon of freedom in a region contested by powerful empires. Cossack history is punctuated by uprisings, often brutal battles against Polish and Ottoman rule. These rebellions, such as the Khmelnytsky uprising of the mid-17th century, fundamentally alter the trajectory of Ukrainian identity, forging a distinct sense of cultural and social independence. Meanwhile, far to the north, the Tsars of Moscow consolidate their power, throwing off Mongol rule and establishing a new empire. Figures like Ivan III and Ivan the Terrible expand their territories through conquest and shrewd political maneuvering, setting the stage for Russia's imperial ambitions. A new ideology emerges in Moscow, the concept of the Third Rome. Moscow positions itself as the inheritor of the Roman and Byzantine empires, destined to lead the Orthodox Christian world. This powerful idea shapes Russian imperial identity, fueling territorial expansion and solidifying the Tsar's authority as the heir of the Christian spiritual and political world. The legacy of Kievan Rus is etched in stone and brick. Structures like the St. Sophia Cathedral in Kyiv stand as testaments to the architectural and artistic achievements of this era, showcasing the influence of Byzantine design and the unique craftsmanship of Kievan Rus. These iconic structures serve as physical reminders of a powerful past, connecting modern viewers to the grandeur of a bygone age. Beyond stone, the spirit of Kievan Rus lives on in ancient texts, carefully preserved manuscripts and chronicles written in Old East Slavic offer invaluable insights into the thoughts, beliefs, and events of this pivotal period. These literary treasures illuminate a world often obscured and distorted by time, providing context and understanding that shapes how we can study and interpret the richness, splendor, and daily lives of the people of Kievan Rus. Vladimir's choice of orthodoxy continues to resonate. The religious traditions of both Ukraine and Russia are deeply rooted in the Orthodox Christian faith, shaping spiritual practices, cultural norms, and artistic expression for centuries. From iconic religious art to sacred rituals and traditions, the spiritual legacy continues to be a core aspect, binding these regions across generations, and helps define some of the common, unique cultural identity shared through ritual, ceremony, celebrations, and the ongoing heritage of Orthodox Christianity. The legal and political structures of Kievan Rus, particularly the Russkaya Pravda legal code, influence and are an integral part of how the unique traditions and understandings of the very notion of statehood develops, and helps to provide essential context and meaning into how these regions view the foundations of laws, rules, traditions, and codes, which formed the very building blocks upon which governance evolved and developed within both the territories of modern Ukraine and Russia. How the state organizes, leads, protects, and governs all derive in part from this foundational period of innovation, understanding, and developing practices and processes within Kievan Rus. The cultural echoes of Kievan Rus continue to reverberate through art and tradition. From the arrival of the Vikings to the Mongol conquest, Kievan Rus represents a pivotal period in the history of Eastern Europe. It laid the foundation for the cultures and nations that exist today. Although the past is shared, the present is divided, which compels us to reflect on the key moments that ultimately led to these important differences in how these two distinct nations developed. These differences provide essential historical context, which can help to appreciate both their current and potentially future trajectory, and the political realities that must be grappled with to establish meaningful relationships between competing interests going forward. Understanding Kievan Rus is key to appreciating and understanding the ongoing conflicts in the region. Claims and counterclaims to this historical legacy have fueled territorial disputes and become deeply intertwined and enmeshed into how different contemporary actors frame disagreements, justify positions, and even construct the entire conceptual basis for military confrontations. Interpretations of history and the political aims and narratives different competing interests build around historical motivations must be appreciated before one can have a realistic appreciation of how different international actors from across Eastern Europe perceive, understand, and define for themselves events on the world stage. Historical narratives become central to how nations define themselves as distinct, important actors within the broader geopolitical space. They define how those nations see themselves as belonging or separated from their neighbors, and are employed extensively by local leaders, actors, influencers, and others to legitimize, motivate, and provide historical justification and important rationale, both domestically and internationally, regarding events within the contemporary and near and distant past. They impact cultural understanding and identity just as significantly today as ever in previous centuries, which can be highly consequential within international relations between nations, and should not be discounted as a vital element to account for when attempting to have a comprehensive appreciation of the complexities of the present and potential and expected challenges and tensions of the future. The legacy of Kievan Rus underscores that shared histories don't necessitate the same perspectives, interpretations, or contemporary political goals. Recognizing this multifaceted legacy and critically engaging with a multitude of diverse, different, and unique perspectives across Eastern European regions opens meaningful dialogue that can help towards creating better opportunities and developing greater cultural awareness, communication, and engagement going forward, and provides crucial skills when attempting to gain even basic comprehension when working together towards developing shared pathways towards growth, mutually beneficial trade, and international understanding in the present, and provides the essential mechanisms necessary to address potential tensions going forward and provide for all an enduringly shared, peaceful, stable, prosperous future and region. By learning about these different interpretations, viewers can develop and grow their own skills to not simply accept, but critically evaluate historical arguments in the contemporary international area, in so doing building the skills necessary to more fully appreciate complex cultural situations, both within the region, but more broadly in the modern world. Kievan Rus casts a long shadow, a reminder of a shared past that continues to shape the present and influence the political conditions and international challenges, both present and emerging into the future. Exploring this history, recognizing nuance, and acknowledging multiple, diverse, valid cultural expressions and understandings of the shared historical heritage provides an appreciation for the complexity of national and cultural identity, which remains of vital contemporary and political import, not just in Eastern Europe, but worldwide. By understanding our shared history with our international neighbors, viewers of all ages, nations, and cultural heritages can engage more productively, effectively, and with deeper respect across multiple competing narratives of both historical and contemporary situations, thereby helping towards forging lasting, meaningful bonds through intercultural dialogue and mutual recognition, fostering together as collaborative partners an appreciation for not only the unique historical aspects of civilizations, but their enduring relevance to modern audiences, politics, and relations around the globe, now and well into the future.